operate at the intersection of great performances. If you want to make an impact in your business, you want to make an impact in Memphis, operate at the intersection of great performances. My son Ben is 9 years old. For his 5th birthday, what he wanted was a hermit crab. And the reason I know he wanted a hermit crab is because every day for 3 months leading up to his 5th birthday, what he said to me was, "Dad, for my birthday, I want a hermit crab." And every day I said to him, "Ben, if on the morning of your birthday, if you still want a hermit crab, I promise you I'll take you to Petco and I'll buy you a hermit crab." On the morning of his 5th birthday, Ben jumps into bed with my wife Barb and I. He gets about 2 inches away from my face and he says to me, "Dad, today is my birthday and I want a hermit crab." I said, "Ben, happy birthday. It is now 2 a.m. And in 7 hours, I promise you, I'll take you to Petco, but please go back to sleep." At 9 o'clock, Ben and I pulled into the parking lot at Petco. We went inside. We went up to the woman behind the counter. I said, "Ma'am, today is my son Ben's 5th birthday, and he would like to buy a hermit crab. I honestly have no idea what a hermit crab is. Can you please show me where they are?" She said, "Yeah, they're right over here." She took us to this glass enclosed area, and there were a bunch of pretty little shells in there. And I said, "Ma'am, I see the shells, but where are the hermit crabs?" She said, "The hermit crabs are inside those shells." I said, "Okay." So Ben picked out his favorite shell and we went on home. Now, I assumed that when we got home that the hermit crab would come out of the shell during the daytime and would go back inside the shell at nighttime. I assumed wrong. We had Hermie for 21 months and I never saw the crab. He stayed inside that shell all day and all night. The only reason we knew he was alive is because in the morning the shell would be in different parts of the cage. Staying inside our shell is exactly what we do when we don't put our own values and our own strengths and our own passions as individuals into our work and into this community every single day. The greatest value that anybody in this room brings to Memphis or brings to your organization is the combination of your values, your strengths, and your passions. For example, in my life, my professional life, I have 2 values, 4 strengths, 2 passions. My values are integrity and delivery. I'm always going to do what I think is the right thing to do in every business situation, even if it costs me money, and I'm always going to try to deliver value to other people. I have 4 strengths. I'm a good listener. I can listen to what somebody said today and I can connect it to something they said 6 months ago and to put it together in a way that adds value. I can simplify the complicated. I can take some complicated business theory and make it usable and functional. I have an ability to collaborate. I'm really not an expert on any industry or any job inside of a company, but I have an ability to bounce ideas back and forth. And I can be candid and honest with people. I can observe somebody in a big room like this or in a smaller room of 15 people or a private session of one-on-one. And at the end of the day, I can go into a private room with that person and I can say to that person, "You know, I don't know if you realize this, but every time this one person spoke, you listened, and every time this other person spoke, you interrupted. Why is that?" I have 2 passions in my professional life. I love to learn what makes other people successful. Last night we were at Corky's barbecue place. Great place. And this woman was so phenomenal. The poor woman that waited on us was phenomenal. I asked her, we got there at 8 o'clock. I asked her what time she started. She said 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, oh my gosh. And she told us she was there for 24 years, but she had this incredible smile. I always want to learn what makes other people successful. And the other thing that drives me is I want to work with other people so they achieve sustainable success. Now you might be wondering, Dan, what is the big deal? A lot of people have those values, strengths, and passions. There is nothing unique or fancy about those. And if you're thinking that, you're right. There is nothing fancy or unique about my values, strengths, and passions. But the reason why they are so valuable to me is they're mine. What are your values? What are your strengths? What are your passions? I encourage you sometime in the next day or two to write down your answers to these questions for Accelerator Action number 3. What are your values? What beliefs drive your behaviors? What are your strengths? What are you good at doing? Whether it's at home, at work, in your community life, what are you good at doing? What are your passions? What is it that excites you? What ignites you? What fuels you? The next 2 questions are about other people. What's one outcome that your organization wants to achieve more than anything else? The next question is, what's one outcome that your customer wants to achieve as a result of buying from you? And then the last question is the biggest question of the whole morning here, or at least from my part of it. The most important question of all is, how can you use your strengths and your passions as an individual to make a greater impact on helping your organization achieve what it wants to achieve and helping your customers achieve what they want to achieve while still staying within your own values? Now, these questions that I just went over right here, you could apply them to the entire Memphis community. What are your values as a group? What are your strengths as a group? What are your passions as a group? How can you leverage those strengths and passions to drive even better results for Memphis?